Hey guys, welcome. JCat here, and welcome back to another video on a card game and not just a deck of cards. This is Uno Flip. Flip the deck, change the game. This is a really interesting card game set for 2 to 10 players, ages 7 and up. Now I'm gonna be pretty blunt with you. We have 2 kids. I have a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old, and they like to destroy things. As you can see, it's already not in great shape until I flip it over. It is not in good shape at all. In fact, here's that other end to it. But this is what it kind of looks like when you have the whole thing together. So the way it works is you have a normal set of Uno cards, essentially is one side. But then if someone puts a flip card down, you go to, as they call, the dark side. Has way tougher penalties. So we are going to be taking a look at that. I'm going to move this back to the side. I need to tape that back on. And we are going to take a look at these really cool Uno cards. So we're going to slide these out. Always going to set the box on top. And so, like I said, we're going to kind of flip one side over and one side not. So as we can see, here is your normal, classic, traditional Uno looking cards here. Very much a smaller set, like the cards are smaller than a normal deck of cards. They're a little bit smaller, but very familiar, except for this card, which we'll get to in a minute. You got your 2s, 9s, 4s, 3s, your +1s. You got other stuff, your cancels, your reverse, all that stuff, your color changer. You've got all the normal cards. But what gets fun is when you have this card. So we're going to try and simulate a normal game. So once we have that 9 here, obviously we can change it to a green 9, then a 4. Someone can add a +1. If you have the house rules to stack, you can stack it. Which, by the way, side note, found out stacking is not a normal rule for Uno. Stacking is not something that's normally done. It's a house rule. Really weird fact. I feel like it should be naturally in it. So we just keep looking at the cards. We've got cancels, all that fun stuff, but eventually someone's going to flip. And once the game flips, you flip the entire deck over, and now we're in the dark side. We are now in the new set of cards. Once again, these are like this. So let's say this is my hand, and this is all the things I have, and now the deck has been flipped, and so now I flip my hand over immediately to the other side. This creates an interesting strategy, first off, because if your opponents aren't as keen and visual about it, and they have their hand kind of like this, like they're hiding their main cards, you can still see their other cards. So that's going to be one of the interesting things, and I've already seen that play out quite a bit of when you flip the cards back over and said, hey, this guy right here, he's had a majority of purple, so when we flip it back over, just be aware of that. It's a really interesting mechanic. So now what we can do here, for me, my only chance is to actually flip it back. But now all the cards are pretty much these new sets of colors of purple and orange and teal. And here's the new 4 color schemes. This is now interesting. So instead of just simply changing the color, you cannot just grab a color that is in your hand. So if I were to change it to orange and my player to my left has orange in his hand, he can't use that. He has to draw until he gets orange and then plays it, and then his turn is done. Instead of just simply reversing it into the opposite direction, it's a full skip right back to where you are. These are now +5, so once again, if you stack, that is going to be brutal. 5, 10, 15. It gets pretty intense. Full skips. The draw cards, as you can see, the game plays once again like similar Uno, except it can get very much more brutal as time goes on. And eventually, of course, the cards will have to flip once again, and then it will go back to setting up once again until we eventually need to flip once more. We need to flip once more, and then eventually the cards will run out and someone will be claimed victor. I do believe that this game does take a little bit longer than normal Uno just because of the flipping mechanic. There's a little bit more strategy involved. There's a little bit more kind of luck at the dice on what cards you do draw and what cards your opponent plays. It plays a little bit longer, but I think overall it is a fun variation on Uno, and it is now as I put it back in my half box that doesn't hardly exist anymore. This game, to me, is my preferred way of playing Uno. They even now have it on the Uno video game for, I think, $4 or $5. I have Uno on my Nintendo Switch, and so I hope to one day be able to pick it up because I love playing this version of Uno. It is my absolute go-to version of playing. When I like to take card games with me, there's few card games I like to take with me. I like to take my Magic the Gathering cards. I like to take, some of my other decks with that. I also like to take Uno Flip. That is definitely one that always goes in the bag when it comes to going to parties or to gatherings or anything like that. I take this deck with me, and it is always a blast. People always love playing it and want to play more. If you guys want to see other card games like Uno Flip, maybe DOS, or maybe other versions of Uno, or maybe even other card games, let me know down in the comments below. Also, tell me, what is your favorite color in Uno, including the new Flip colors? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.